Alex, Mariano Rivera, as I just mentioned, first Hall of Famer, voted unanimously in. Absolutely incredible. You guys were teammates for almost a decade. Talk to us about what made him so exceptional.
Yeah, Molly, so one of the most impressive human beings I've ever met. I mean, he's like 007. He does it all. He's like a surgeon. The interesting thing about him is he did it, while Mike Mussina did it with 5 or 6 pitches, Mo did it with 1, a cutter and a sinker, but a fastball. And, he played into his 40s, one of the most flexible guys I've ever played with. I often call him the best center fielder I ever played with. And get this, when he was 41 years old, we invited about 85 young people to camp with the Yankees. He had the best vertical jump around 35.
Wow.
So he is an anomaly, to say the least.
2 players who didn't get in, obviously Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, both received 59%. Should they be voted into the Hall of Fame?
Well, look, Molly, I don't have a vote, but what I will tell you is the greatest single pitcher I've ever seen in my life that I played with and against is Roger Clemens, and the same goes for Barry Bonds. I mean, both of these guys played into the mid-40s. They loved the game. They both had incredible work ethic. Obviously, we know the elephant in the room, but what I will tell you is I've never seen a better hitter, baseball player, and I've never seen a better pitcher than those two. But
Alex, when we talk about Bonds and we talk about Clemens, obviously the words PEDs, it's going to, PED use is going to come up. That's the bottom line. Obviously, when people talk about you, they're going to bring that up. What is your feeling about those who have been associated with PED use in this era being omitted from the Hall of Fame? Do you think it should be automatic disqualification? Do you think it should be ignored? How do you judge, how do you measure whether a guy is a Hall of Famer when they've been associated with those things?
I mean, Stephen, you're asking the wrong person. Of course I want them to get in, because that would mean that I have an opportunity to get in one day. Look, I pray every day that I get a chance to get in. The Hall of Fame is the ultimate place. I got 3 of my really good friends got in last night. We were throwing a party down here at the 305 for Mussina, Edgar, and Mo, and of course the late Doc Holliday. But look, here's the saddest part for me is for players like all of us, really. But if you think about Roger and Barry specifically, if you stop their career at the age of 33 or 34, they were both first ballot, and then the noise started. So for me, it's just a shame. I am certainly cheering for both of them. I like them both very much. They're both friends, and I'm in their corner.
Alex, let me give you my theory on this. I want to hear how you respond. I think with players where it's obvious where the juicing started, Clemens was in decline steadily. I would say he was borderline Hall of Famer if you take his Boston career. He goes to Toronto, wins back-to-back Cy Young triple crowns. Clearly, that's where it's, obviously, Barry Bonds was already one of the greatest players in history. When he came back from injury, all of a sudden his home run to at-bat ratio doubles at the age of 35. A-Rod, he was getting on base 60% of the time and slugging 8-something. He had never sniffed that, as great as he was, before the juice, right? Honestly, for me, in your case, it's much more difficult because I can't pinpoint a time he started juicing then, because you entered the league as a phenom and had one of the all-time great rookie seasons, and I didn't notice any sudden and dramatic physical change in you coupled with a sudden and dramatic change in your production once or twice throughout your career, but you were already a great player by then. So to me, in cases where the juicing and cheating started at an obvious point and turned them into something else, you evaluate whether or not they were already Hall of Famers. So for me, Clemens is on the fence, probably yes. And Bonds is an absolutely, obviously yes. And McGwire and Sosa are no's. To that, you say what?
Well, that was a lot.
Marinate on that.
I think... You know what, Max? I think it's a polarizing subject. You can't run away from it. I've taken the approach that I think talking about it is best. And look, I make no surprise or secrets. I've made my mistakes. I've paid huge penalties. Would love to get in, but I understand that I made my own bed. So if I don't make it to the Hall of Fame, I can live with that. I would be bummed. It would suck. And I can't believe that I put myself in this situation. But if that happens, I have no one to blame but myself. I will tell you for Barry and for Roger, I love those guys. I think they would tell you on their own if they made a mistake or not. I don't know about them. I can only tell you about the mistakes that I made.
For what it's worth, A-Rod, you have my vote. I think you were already a phenomenal player. It would be difficult for me to pinpoint a time where something turned you into something where you weren't already a Hall of Famer. You would have my vote. Clemens is a maybe and Bonds is an obviously.
Alex, if you had the opportunity to speak on behalf of Bonds, Clemens, and yourself to make a case for y'all being Hall of Famers, what would you say?
Well, I'm not going to make a case for myself. And it's hard for me, Stephen H., to speak about Barry and Roger. I could barely speak for myself. But what I will tell you is this. I mean, look, it's such a moving target. The Hall of Fame is the most prestigious Hall of Fame still of all time of any sports. And when we have a day where I have 3 really good friends in Mariano, in Edgar, and Musina getting in, there's a small part of me that feels that I got in. And so I can't make a case. I made my case when I made my mistakes, and I'm going to have to lay on my bed. So I'm still hoping I can maybe one day get in.
I actually kind of disagree with that. I agree with you, Max. A-Rod is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
No
One of the all-time great rookie years at the age of,
A-Rod
I think he was 21 years old, hit 350-something with 30-something home runs and played great shortstop.
Right.
And if that was already cheating, there's no way to prove it. And assuming that was clean, that demonstrates.
A-Rod.
See, they made a case for you.
A-Rod, you are. Barry Bonds
Hey, wait,
is.
you guys are.
I hold it against Clemens for being stupid enough to invite the attention to himself. That's what I hold against Clemens.